Human engineering is, it's truly a marvel when you actually think about it.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, we can design these massive million-pound space shuttles, right? We strap them to rockets, fire them off into the freezing vacuum of the cosmos, and somehow navigate the stars with pinpoint precision.
It really is this astonishing triumph of material science.
Exactly. But I have this mind-bending contradiction for you listening today. Humanity, with all of our supercomputers, all our laboratories, all our billions in resources, we cannot manufacture a single, simple, living ant.
It is wild to think about. We can explore the infinite cosmos, but we literally cannot build a bug.
Right. And the question is why? Well, according to this highly esoteric, deeply complex cosmological framework we are looking at today called the 5 Laws on the Eternity of Life, the answer is that life isn't biology at all.
No, it's invisible software.
Yeah, invisible software. So
Yeah.
welcome to today's deep dive. Our mission is to really explore this fascinating text that weaves together theoretical physics, theology, and macroscopic cosmology.
And it is a complete inversion of how we normally view the universe. I mean, we tend to think we've mastered the manipulation of matter, but this framework argues that physical matter is entirely secondary. Life operates on a completely non-material set of rules.
I do want to throw a quick flag on the play here, though, for you listening. We are about to dive into some incredibly bold claims today.
Very bold. We need to be clear about that.
Right. Because this philosophy goes hard into critiquing standard evolutionary theory, and it presents, highly specific views on major world religions.
So we should explicitly state that we aren't endorsing these viewpoints. We definitely aren't taking any religious or political sides here.
Not at all. We are just putting on our hazmat suits to impartially dissect the fascinating cosmic architecture this author has built, right? We just want to understand how this unique perspective on reality actually functions.
That is the perfect way to frame it. We are just exploring the mechanics of a massive cosmological theory, purely to see how all its intricate gears turn.
Okay, let's unpack this. We have to start with the most fundamental question, which is, what is life, actually?
Right, the baseline definition.
Yeah, and to answer this, the text looks at Dr. Christopher Langton from the Los Alamos National Life Laboratory. He famously noted that life's essence lies not in its specific substance, but in its form.
Yeah, the argument there is that the building blocks of life, our genes, the human genome we study under microscopes, that isn't actually the essence of life.
It's just the physical manifestation of what the author describes as a sealed book.
Exactly. And to take that a step further, this philosophy actually pushes back on Dr. Langton a bit, saying life is merely a form isn't quite enough for this text.
Because a form implies something static, right?
Right, like a rigid structure, like a statue.
Yeah.
But life is inherently movable. It possesses consciousness. Therefore, we arrive at this completely new definition for our deep dive. Life is a non-material structure with spirituality.
Non-material structure with spirituality. I want to make sure you, the listener, are visualizing this leap because it really sets the stage for everything else we're going to talk about today.
It's the core of the whole theory.
Think about it like a computer. The physical matter, so the plastic keyboard, the silicon chips, the glass screen that is the hardware.
And humans are great at building hardware.
We're amazing at it. Bicycles, clothes, space shuttles. But a pile of hardware is just a heavy, useless brick until you install an invisible software operating system that actually makes it run.
The spark of life.
Exactly. So biological matter, blood, bone, DNA, that is just the hardware. Life is the non-material software structure. But I do have to challenge the logic here a little bit.
Go for it.
I can follow the jump from biology to like an invisible structure or an energy pattern, but how do we leap directly to spirituality? I mean, why isn't this non-material structure just a natural emergent phenomenon of complex chemistry?
Well, that skepticism is actually anticipated in the text. If you ask a strict materialist how an invisible structure organizes itself out of random chemical chaos, you often just get circular logic.
Like it happens naturally because nature does it.
Exactly. It's a non-answer.
Yeah.
So to bridge the gap from a natural energy pattern to actual spirituality, we have to look at purpose. Why does this structure exist at all?
Okay.
What's fascinating here is that this leads directly into the first law on the eternity of life. The universe exists as an order designed specifically to serve life.
So it's a completely codependent relationship.
Absolutely. I mean, think about human political or legal systems, what is their purpose? They exist to serve humanity.
Without humans, the legal system has literally no reason to exist.
Exactly. And this framework argues the cosmic order operates identically. The stars, the planets, the vacuum of space, they are a massive incubator built specifically for life.
So if life perishes, the universe just disappears.
Yes. And as long as the universe exists, life will continue. They are permanently locked together.
Wow. Okay, so if the universe is essentially a giant machine built to serve life, that forces us to look at how the machine is engineered, right? We are zooming out from the individual ant to the macroscopic architecture of the entire cosmos.
And the fundamental engineering principle keeping this cosmic engine from tearing itself apart is symmetry.
Right, symmetry. It's the heartbeat of this universal order.
Yeah, represented by the classic Taiji diagram and yin yin yang. But this isn't presented as just some cute philosophical metaphor in the text. It is applied to the literal structure of reality.
It's the actual physics of their universe.
Right. The universe operates holographically.
Let's break that down for the listener, actually, because holographic universe gets thrown around a lot in sci-fi.
It does, yeah. So imagine taking a photograph printed on a piece of glass and shattering it. If you pick up one tiny shard, you don't just see a piece of the picture.
The entire image is reflected within that single microscopic fragment.
That is the holographic principle. A single biological cell contains the blueprint of the entire cosmos. And this perfectly symmetrical cosmos is mapped out into a highly specific 36-dimensional space.
The mapping of these dimensions is just wild to me. Picture a perfectly mirrored hourglass. In the top half, you have the heavenly dimensions, so the zero world, the Elysium world, the 10,000-year and 1,000-year worlds.
And in the bottom half, you have the hellish dimensions, the inflamed layer, the frozen layer, the hell world, and the plant and animal worlds.
And right at the pinch point of the hourglass, the exact dividing line of these two symmetrical realities is the mortal world.
Earth, right in the middle. And traversing this hourglass is based entirely on resonance. It is not about a deity judging you from a throne.
It's just physics, frequency.
Exactly. If your consciousness and thinking resonate on the same frequency as the inherent morality of the universe, your life structure naturally floats upward toward the heavenly dimensions.
And if your frequency mismatches, you sink toward the hellish layers.
This movement exists strictly to maintain dynamic equilibrium.
To illustrate this dynamic equilibrium, the text uses a corporate analogy, which I think is helpful. Imagine a company with hundreds of employees. You can only have one CEO.
Right, maybe a handful of regional directors.
Yeah, and maybe 50 sales reps. But the vast majority of the people must be frontline workers in the factory for the business to actually produce anything.
If you suddenly flip that and you have 50 CEOs and one single frontline worker, the company collapses under its own top heavyweight.
So applying that to the cosmos, the population of heaven must be infinitesimally small. Humans must be moderate in number. Hell populations must equal or exceed humans. And flora and fauna must be massive to support the base.
But wait, I know you're going to push back on this.
I am, because let me poke a hole in this org chart. The whole idea of cosmic karma is usually as you sow, so shall you reap, right? Reward and punishment based on your action.
Right, personal responsibility.
Yeah. So if I do a great job at a company, I get promoted to manager. But if literally everyone does a perfect job, you can't have a company of just managers. The math breaks.
It completely falls apart.
So if everyone on Earth suddenly becomes perfectly moral and achieves perfect resonance, does the universe's quota system block them from going to heaven just because there are too many kings? How does karma work if there's a strict mathematical cap on paradise?
That is the exact friction point that requires a shift in how we understand symmetry. The symmetry maintaining the universe is not about rigid physical bodies or a literal head count.
Okay, so what is it about?
It is about energy symmetry. To grasp this, we have to swap the corporate analogy for a meteorological one. Look at the water on Earth.
Right, oceans make up about 97% of Earth's water, glaciers about 2%, underground water less than 1%.
And the lakes and rivers we actually interact with, they make up a tiny fraction, about 0.0001%.
Barely anything.
Exactly. Now think about a single drop of water. It doesn't matter how many physical drops are currently in the ocean versus the sky. What matters is the dynamic flow.
So water must evaporate, condense into clouds, rain down on the mountains, and flow back through the rivers.
And if that cycle stops, the planet dies. The morality of the universe operates as that cycle. It isn't a human concept of good and evil. It is an eternal, structural law hidden inside cosmic symmetry to keep life energy constantly flowing between dimensions.
Okay.
And this continuous, imperishable flow is the second law of the eternity of life.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. If we accept this premise that the universe is a closed loop of energy and the total amount of life is a fixed, mathematically constant number, we run into a glaring real-world problem.
The population explosion.
Yes. Just look at the last few decades. The human population on Earth has exploded. We jumped from roughly 5 billion people 20 years ago to over 7.6 billion now.
Which is a massive, unprecedented spike.
Right. If it's a closed water system and the total volume of life is locked, where did 2.5 billion extra human souls suddenly come from?
Well, if the total volume of water on Earth remains constant, but suddenly a river doubles in size, the water had to be pulled from somewhere else.
Maybe a glacier melted or a lake dried up.
Exactly. Because total cosmic life is a constant, it merely changes vessels. Therefore, those extra 2.5 billion humans reincarnated from heaven, from hell, from plants, and crucially, from the animal kingdom.
This logic is staggering when you map it onto reality. Look at what's happening right in front of us. As human populations have skyrocketed globally, wildlife populations have plummeted.
The correlation is directly addressed.
We pave over a rainforest, thousands of species die off, and concurrently, human birth rates surge. If we follow this to its absolute endpoint, the extinguished animal souls are physically respawning as human babies.
Which naturally sounds preposterous if you cling to the idea that a human and a sheep are fundamentally different entities.
Right.
But remember the baseline definition. The biological hardware is irrelevant. Life is a non-material structure. And when you analyze that non-material software, the differences between species are microscopic.
The numbers in the text are startling. The structural difference between a human and a gorilla is merely 0.1%.
Barely anything.
And if you take a rabbit or a sheep and compare its non-material structure to yours, the difference is 0.2%.
It's all the same base code.
It even works in the other direction. The structural difference between an ordinary person and a saint, or historical figures like Jesus or Sakyamuni, is a fraction of percent. The vessel changes drastically, but the underlying software is essentially identical, just slightly tweaked.
And understanding that software architecture brings us to a massive looming warning in the text regarding human cloning.
I was just thinking about that. If life operates on a strict cosmic energy quota, what happens when human scientists start playing God in a lab?
It creates a huge problem.
Right, because if I clone a sheep or a human, I am physically creating a new vessel. Why wouldn't the universe just mint a new soul to put in it?
Because of the holographic principle we discussed earlier, the cosmic blueprint is already tied to a specific non-material structure. Duplicating the biology doesn't create new software.
It's like taking a computer's operating system and trying to force it to run on 2 different laptops simultaneously.
Exactly. You are artificially duplicating the hardware, which forces the original consciousness to split.
So you aren't treating new life, you are hijacking an existing non-material structure.
Precisely. It artificially inflates the total amount of hardware demanding life energy, which destroys the cosmic symmetry.
So cloning is a big no-no.
A huge one. This kind of scientific overreach is viewed as a direct violation of natural laws, inviting imminent, massive catastrophes to rebalance the cosmic scales.
Just to fix the math.
Exactly. But through this constant shifting of forms, water turning to vapor, animals turning to humans, we arrive at the third law. Life is eternal through transmigration and evolution.
So we have a fixed quota of life constantly transmuting across dimensions.
Yeah.
But if the universe has a strict maximum capacity, it implies a day one when that cap was reached.
Right, an origin point.
How did we get from an empty universe to a full one? Who finalized the math?
This takes us into the macro history of cosmic creation. Initially, the total quantity of life was not fixed. It had to grow. First, the greatest creator came into being, generating symmetrical gods utilizing yin and yang energy.
Okay, so gods are created.
Right. And to bring vitality to this expanding universe, angels were created, categorized broadly in the text as supercelestial beings and Buddhas.
And this is where the cosmic engine design went terribly wrong, right? Because to experience the joy of creation themselves, these angels, using blueprints endowed by the greatest creator, began manufacturing life. specifically human beings.
Yes.
But they built humanity without building any lower-level spaces.
Think of it like building a massive combustion engine, but forgetting to install an exhaust system.
It's going to blow up.
It did! The creation of humans without a corresponding purgatory or hell dimension destroyed the symmetry of the universe. It was entirely top-heavy. There was nowhere for the lower-frequency energy to drain.
It was choking itself out.
Yeah.
So to fix this massive imbalance, two great extinction events were implemented on Earth.
The asteroid wiping out the dinosaurs wasn't just random space debris.
No, it was bureaucratic cosmic restructuring. An extinction forces a massive instantaneous transfer of energy from the living mortal dimension to the dead dimension, the yin world, or hell.
This instantly populated the lower levels, counterbalancing the top.
But dropping billions of lives into hell simply to balance a spreadsheet caused immense injustice. Lives were treated unfairly in this mass purge.
Which violates cosmic morality.
Right. So to balance that injustice out, the greatest creator had to construct new heavenly dimensions. The Elysium world, the 10,000-year world, and the 1,000-year world.
The expansion of paradise.
And as a fascinating side note, animals in the 1,000-year world supposedly live 10 times longer than Earth animals, and morally upright humans can actually reincarnate as these animals, living vastly better lives than they do now as mortals.
Which is such a wild paradigm shift. But the critical takeaway from all this cosmic construction is that once those final balancing worlds were layered in, the universe finally reached its saturation point.
The total quantity of life was strictly locked in. The engine was complete, and the quota was finalized forever.
And following this lockdown, we get an explanation for the origins of our earthly religions.
Yeah, the claim is that humanity has three distinct cosmic origins, which resulted directly in the three major global religions: Buddhism, Christianity, and Islam, guided respectively by Sakyamuni, Jesus, and Muhammad.
This raises an important question, and we need to reiterate our impartiality disclaimer here, because the philosophy takes a highly controversial stance on this.
It really does.
Because it argues there are only three true origins, it asserts that all other religious frameworks are heterodoxical, meaning they have false sources and will eventually disappear.
But it also dictates that Buddhism, Christianity, and Islam are equally unconquerable by one another. Therefore, to maintain cosmic harmony, these three must stop competing and gradually unify.
It points to a larger trend. I mean, physicists are constantly searching for a unified field theory to explain all material forces, right?
Right, tying all of quantum mechanics and gravity together.
Exactly. Well, this philosophy suggests the cosmic powers are trying to establish a unified perspective theory for humanity. It positions its own framework, Life Shanuan, as the vessel to usher in this unified era.
So what does this all mean? If you're listening to this, how do you even begin to process a framework that strings together the evaporation of water, the extinction of the dinosaurs, and a mandate for global religious unification?
It is a massive lot to digest.
Understatement of the year.
Right. But ultimately, the core message isn't about sparking a theological war. It argues that in the eyes of the cosmic order, all lives are equal.
The ultimate plea is for individuals to abandon factional fighting, drop nationalistic or religious friction, and focus entirely on the resonance of their own eternal non-material structure.
And to definitively prove why that non-material structure is unbreakable, we have to take one last journey.
Down the rabbit hole.
We've looked at the macro history of the cosmos. Now we are going to zoom all the way in to the microscopic quantum level.
We need to locate where that vital spirituality actually comes from.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it is identified as the psychic energy of the greatest creator, which is explicitly called the Tao, referencing Laozi's ancient philosophy.
The Tao is described as the blood and the vitality of the universe. It is the energy flowing through the closed water loop we talked about.
Exactly.
And because your specific life structure is integrated with the Tao, we arrive at a striking realization. True suicide is impossible.
It cannot be done.
You can smash the laptop.
Yeah.
You can destroy the biological hardware. But you cannot kill the software because life itself is permanently integrated with the eternal psychic energy of the cosmos.
And this unbreakable connection is the fourth law.
To visualize why the software survives the destruction of the hardware, the text bridges this ancient philosophy with modern physics, which I found fascinating.
Right. Imagine a human body breaking down. You start with a biological germ cell. As you divide that cell down further and further, you eventually leave biology completely and enter the domain of quantum mechanics.
Right, you get down to atoms, then subatomic particles.
Keep going. You dive down into superstring theory. At this level, reality isn't made of tiny, solid balls of matter.
No, it's made of microscopic, one-dimensional strings of vibrating energy.
The physical world dissolves into pure frequency. And if you push past the vibration of superstrings, you exit the material universe entirely. You cross the threshold into pure spirit and consciousness, which is completely non-material.
It is such an incredible intellectual journey. You start staring at a physical cell under a microscope, you dive down through the vibrating strings of quantum physics, and you pop out on the other side into a realm of pure cosmic energy.
It's quite a trip.
There's an old saying that deities lurk 1 meter above our heads. Well, according to this framework, those aren't metaphors. They are real, substantive, non-material structures operating just outside our frequency.
Physical matter is fragile, right? It is constantly decaying and disappearing.
But non-material structures, by definition, have no physical parts to decay. Therefore, they cannot be destroyed.
And that ultimate permanence constitutes the fifth law. Non-material structures cannot disappear.
So let's quickly recap these 5 laws on the eternity of life so you have the whole map in front of you.
Go for it.
1. The universe exists to serve life, so life is eternal. 2. The universe's morality is an eternal, symmetrical structure keeping energy flowing.
3. Life is eternal through constant transmigration and evolution across dimensions.
4. The Tao, the psychic energy of the universe, lives forever. And 5. Non-material structures cannot decay or disappear.
It is a vast, sweeping theory of everything. But if this theoretical deep dive feels like too much physics and cosmology to hold in your head at once, the author offers a much simpler final piece of evidence.
Oh, right, the practical application.
Yeah, if you doubt the non-material structure of life, look at the documented research on near-death experiences. Look at the baffling cases of children recalling precise details of past lives.
And if you still remain skeptical, simply look inward. Pay attention to the revelations found in your own dreams.
Which brings us perfectly back to where we started. We can't build an ant. We can't code that software from scratch.
But perhaps we don't need to, because the cosmic engine is perfectly recycling that life energy around us every single second.
Exactly.
So I'm going to leave you with a final thought to ponder today. If this architecture is real, if life truly is a non-material structure cycling through a constant cosmic water system of energy, what if your most vivid, inexplicable dreams aren't just random neurons firing in a biological brain?
What a concept.
What if those dreams are actually your eternal, non-material software, temporarily accessing the saved data from the 0.2% difference of your past forms?
A truly profound possibility to sit with.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Keep looking closely at the world around you, keep questioning the fundamental nature of your own universe, and we will see you next time.